In our last video, we were exploring this teaching point. Writers prepare to draft a paired passage extended response by studying the prompt to determine what the questions are asking, reading the text with a prompt lens. And so I showed you how I would mark up Stubby with the prompt lens in mind, and then you guys were sent off to do the same thing, but this time with Rags. So today we're continuing that work, and we're starting the third bullet here of this teaching point. Writers prepare to draft a paired passage extended response by. We study the prompt, we read the text with a prompt lens. Today we're going to work on stating claims to answer both questions. So what are we trying to achieve today? Today we will look over our text evidence to write claims that will answer each of the extended response questions. Okay? You guys are going to be doing the last part, which is citing evidence from both texts to support the claims. You'll be doing that as you work independently on an extended response essay. So, when you are working with paired passages, whether they are fiction or nonfiction, in this case narrative nonfiction, you have Stubby and Rags, you will always see that these texts are going to share a similar topic. Okay, the topic will be the same. For Stubby and for Rags, these are hero dogs of war. Now, what will be different is that they're going to have different main ideas or different events, but they will all focus around the same topic. And so that is the case with Stubby and Rags. You have the same topic, hero dogs of war, but then the way that Stubby becomes the hero is similar, but it's also quite different in the way Rags becomes a hero dog. But they're both hero dogs, and they both have to do with a soldier, just like the prompt told us from the very beginning. We already knew that. So let's move on and go ahead and open up to the planning page that you started. And I just have a couple of quotes that I picked up for Stubby for the prompt question, why do the dogs and soldiers come together? So I found that Stubby had been abandoned, and technically dogs weren't allowed at army training, but the soldiers of the 26th Yankee Division made an exception because they knew Stubby would help keep the soldiers' spirits high. And now for the second prompt question, how is the way the dogs help the soldiers similar and different? Well, remember, for Stubby, because it was the first text I read, I was only looking for how Stubby helped the soldier. So I found his keen sense of smell and his knowledge of mustard gas combined to mean that he could warn soldiers that mustard gas was in the air. And then I also found another quote. Overall, Stubby served for 18 months and helped soldiers in 17 battles. So this is the text evidence that I plan on using in my essay for Stubby. Now for Rags, here it is. So Rags found Donovan when he was wandering the streets of France. This is not an exact quote because I want you to do that work on your own, but I just want to tell you how Rags found the soldier to answer this question. Why do the dogs and soldiers come together? So I'm looking over my evidence. Stubby was abandoned, and then he was kept because he kept the spirits of the soldiers high, and then Rags found Donovan when he was wandering the streets. So it seems like the dogs and the soldiers come together because they find each other, first of all, and the dogs they're stray dogs. They didn't have a home. So I'm going to start using the same words that are in the question. Why do the dogs and soldiers come together? The dogs and soldiers come together because they did not have a home and they found the soldiers. And that happens with both of these texts. So I have my claim for the first question, why do the dogs and the soldiers come together? This claim is going to be how I begin my body paragraph, and it's going to help keep my writing focus. So now the second question is, how is the way the dogs help the soldiers similar and different? So I'm going to use again the same words from the question. The dogs help the soldiers in war in different and similar on different ways. Now, I know that I'm going to have to find evidence that shows how it was similar and evidence to show how it was different. I know that Stubby helped smell out the mustard gas, but I know that Rags didn't do that. He did something else. They both helped to save the soldiers, but they did it in a different way, and that's what I'm going to, put down for the different ways that the dogs help the soldiers. So let's move on to our introduction. This is the last thing I'm going to help you with, and then you're going to get started on writing the essay independently. So we know from the prompt that we first have to answer why the dogs and soldiers come together, and then we have to answer how is the way the dogs help the soldiers similar and different. So I'm going to copy the claim just so that I have it here and you can see it. This is my first claim. And this is my second claim to the second question. And now I'm going to put it all together in a very quick introduction. Doesn't need much except the claims. So I'm going to begin with Stubby and Rags are both hero dogs that have friendships with soldiers. And I got this information right from here. Friendships with the soldiers. And I know that that's the same topic. So I want to mention a little bit about what the text was about. And now the first question, why do the dogs and the soldiers come together? I'm going to go ahead and write down my claim. The dogs and soldiers come together because they did not have a home and they found the soldiers. So wait, the dogs and the soldiers come together because they didn't, well, I want to be specific, because the dogs did not have a home and they found the soldiers. That's much better. It makes more sense. Period. Of course, I revise as I go. And now the second question, how is the way the dogs help the soldiers similar and different? I'm going to go ahead and put down the claim that I have for that. The dogs helped the soldiers in war in similar and different ways. And that's all I need for my introduction. And very simply, I just put down the names of the texts, one line about what they were both about, and then I wrote down the claims for each question. And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you guys can have it, and you can go ahead and copy that. Whoops, let's go back to that. You can go ahead and copy that. You can pause the video to help you copy that, so you have an introduction already started for you. Now you're going to finish the rest of the essay on your own using the planning page to help you with your text evidence in the body paragraphs. So in this video, we looked over our text evidence to write claims that answer each of our extended response questions. Now what you're going to do on your own, you're going to finish gathering your text evidence with the prompt questions as a lens. You're going to use the planning page in your writing notebook to begin writing your essay to answer the prompt. Your essay needs an intro, 2 body paragraphs with evidence from each text, of course, because this is a paired passage essay, and a conclusion. When you are totally done with everything, you're going to reread your essay to make sure you have interpretation and to make sure that you have the best quotes that you can have. And that's it for this video.